Square blanket knitting tutorial. Okay, we're going to take one of these threads and start the needle. Leave a long line here. Let's start with the middle line of the 2 balls. Finger wrapped around the needle. The first shot is like this. Let's move on to the second shot. Tighten the thread after starting the needle. Take it out and pay off the other end of the needle into the needle and wire it. Use the remaining half of the thread to knit him again. There is still a needle in the middle of the 2 balls. Every needle in the back is needled like this. Knit him once. Put it on the left needle. Okay, we're going to do this one more time. Okay, put it on the left needle. Okay, if we have 3 balls in the middle as a group, we'll give him 4 stitches for the first thread. Fortunately, at this position, we put this thread. Pull it out a little. Take out the second thread. Tie him a knot. When tying the knot, the 2 balls should be closer together. Okay, let's tighten it up a bit. So the 2 balls are connected. Take out the scissors. Cut off the extra thread. Now we're going to start with a second thread. Go around. Each stitch in the middle is a stitch like this. Knit once. Okay, let's go for another shot. Let's knit it for him. Then the second set is also 3 balls. Our balls in each group are as good as Doha. 3 balls are 3 stitches. Next, we will replace the following thread to knit. The same is to pull this thread out. Take out another thread. Let's tie a knot. When receiving, there are 2 balls in the middle. Well, the distance should be closer and shorter. Okay, after connecting, we take the extra thread and cut it off. Okay, now use the third thread to start the needle. Okay, knit once, the third thread. The first and second needles are both encrypted needles. So the third stitch, the last stitch, it's a side stitch. What about the edge needles? We just don't knit them. So after getting the needle, this is what it looks like. Okay, here's 3 balls in a group. Before knitting, we are going to put this ball line first. Put it in this one. Up. Put it on this side outside us. Then come and start knitting the second row. The first stitch is picked off and not knitted, so let's use the new thread to knit the second stitch. Put it on the left needle and repeat the knitting. Each needle in the middle is woven like this. It is exactly the same as our encrypted blanket weaving method. Well, here is the common needle. Let's use the previous thread to knit. Alright, next circle. Let's knit the next ball with white thread. Knit 2 flat needles on each needle in the middle. Okay, here we go again to the common needle. We still use the previous thread to knit. Okay, so here we go. Blue. 1 needle in the middle, knit 2 flat needles on it. Hey, the last stitch. Last stitch. We knit a needle with a thread segment. Okay, and after we're done, we'll keep turning around. Oh, before knitting, let's put this line segment in the next row first. Set it up. Start knitting. Okay, the first stitch is picked out and not knitted. Then let's use the new thread segment to knit the second stitch. Put it on the left needle and repeat the knitting. Okay, let's continue knitting for him again. Put the left needle on and repeat. Place of common needle. Where we use public needles. Go knit this thread above. Okay, when knitting to the next stitch, we change the line to the white line. Knit 2 flat needles on 1 stitch. Okay, 1 stitch, 2 flat stitches on it. Back to this public needle place again. Where the handover is, we use the front thread to knit. Okay, next row. We're on it. Next stitch. Let's change the thread of a macaron to knit. Knit on a needle in the middle. 2 flat needles. Okay, let's continue. And the last stitch is a piece of thread. Okay, and after we're done, we'll keep turning around. Okay, so we're going to the next row, the first stitch. It was picked out and not knitted. Then let's use the new thread segment to knit the second stitch. Repeat knitting. Okay, knit 2 flat needles on each needle in the middle. Where we use the public needle. Weave the thread in front. Come to this position, we start changing lines. Change to white. The place where the common needle is woven with white thread. Okay, change to the next color. The last stitch is a thread segment to knit a stitch. Okay, here's how many laps we need to weave. We know that when length and width are similar. The thread is on the right hand side. Start changing the thread. When changing the line, we put each line. Take all the threads here and cut it off. Then start wiring. After connecting, we take the extra thread and cut it off. Bake the joint with a lighter to make it stronger. Second thread. Cut off the excess thread. Fortunately, the third line. Okay, what about after connecting the wire? So let's go ahead and knit. Okay, the first stitch is picked out and not knitted. Let's use the new thread segment to knit the second stitch. Okay, repeat it. The next step is to knit like just now. It is good to knit 2 flat needles on the middle needle. That's where we share the needle, or use the previous thread to knit. The thread is woven inside and cannot be seen. Let's change the color next. Common needle, let's use the thread in front to knit. Okay, for the next stitch we use a new segment. Weave with white thread. And the last stitch is a piece of thread. Well, after knitting, we will continue to turn around. We follow this method. finished knitting this blanket. The third step is to close the needle. The thread we started the needle with is in. When on the left hand side, start from the right hand side to collect the needle. Okay, the first coil of the needle is directly removed. Grab the first ball in front. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do one stitch at a time. Okay, then take this coil off. Grab the second ball in front. There is a thread segment at the back to knit a needle. Okay, catch the ball in front. Public needle on this needle. Public needle on this needle. Let's knit this coil here. The ball is cut off from the root of the ball. Pull the coil out. Tie a knot. Cut off the excess. Okay, here's one more thread to knit a needle. Open the coil and catch the ball. Okay, the whole thing. Good public needle on this needle, huh? Okay, what about after you knit it? Cut from the root of the ball. Pull the thread out. Connect this thread tighter when tying the knot. Okay, we're going to do this again. One thread segment to knit a needle. The coil opens and catches the ball in front. Okay, let's continue with one segment and one stitch. Good catch the ball. Last stitch. Or a thread segment to knit a needle. Grab the ball in front and give it to him again. Okay, at the end, leave a ball in a line. Cut. Well, after cutting it off, what about our ball? The ball, put it in this position again. Then tie the knot inside. A long line is fine. Hey, the thread we started the needle with. Put it in this position. It's coming through underneath. Tie a knot the same way. Okay, just tie a long knot. In that case, we're done with a square blanket.